Hi everyone! Today I'm finally going to be sharing with you my island tour. So while I still feel like my island, there's a lot that I could do with it, a lot that I wanted to do with it, I'm still pretty pleased with everything. So I'm going to walk you through everything that I have done today. I don't necessarily have a specific theme for my island. I would say it's more or less just kind of like a homey feel, if you would. It's an approachable island, I feel like. So when you come out of the airport, I do have this kind of like little tropical entrance here going, and I will have all the videos that I've made for speed builds on things on my island linked below, so if you like anything, feel free to check that out along with all of the custom codes and everything. I wanted to create just like a very welcoming space, and I love all these like pink and white and red flowers as you can see, so I have just jammed quite a few of these into here, but I tried to create 3 different pathways so you could head out in any direction, and if you come back this way you can see all my villagers ignoring me at resident services, which apparently is quite the party place to be tonight. If you come straight back, you will find this behind here, but if you were to come out more towards the east side, I have this little diner restaurant area that you can add your name in over here. You could have a seat in the old waiting area for a minute. But as you can see, this is mostly just a collection of all of the diner furniture that I have found. Initially, what I was thinking with this area actually was I built out a dance floor, and again I'll link that video down there if that's something that you would like to include on one of your islands, but I initially had that and wanted to have this seating area over here to give it more of like a club feel, like this was, you know, the VIP booth, but at the end of the day, the custom paths for the dance floor just took up way too many squares since it is a little bit limited, so instead I just left these 3 little lights down here and people can just jam out on their own. So coming over to this side of the beach, I don't have a ton going on here, but I tried to create just a very relaxing, kind of chill, beachy area where villagers could come and lay down, which sometimes they do and makes me chuckle. I also love using clothing as furniture, which you'll see a little bit strewn about the island. But coming back a little further, I do have this sort of jewelry shop thing going with the lighthouse in the back. I think that lighthouse is very cute, so I jammed it up there. And over here, I do have this grand piano that I have just used as kind of a filler. Behind here, I did fully get, just full disclosure, inspiration for this area from a photo I found on Pinterest, so I'll link that below from the original person, or at least who I saw it originally from. But I wanted to create sort of like a little workshop area, so, you know, we have some tools, we have this utility sink, and I really like incorporating some of the DIY tables throughout the island, so I actually have 3 spread out, other than the one in the resident services as well, just so I'm not having to run in between places, especially as I am creating videos and trying to design things. But if you come over here, I just have this little, I don't know, slightly terraformed area with some waterfalls in the background, this little telephone booth, and obviously, you know, you have to have a small stereo by the resident services so people will sing. But coming past the workshop area, I actually have this kind of like a trading post, if you will. Because I'm constantly redecorating things, don't usually have my gates open too often, but I'm going to soon do kind of an open dodo code situation where people can come and take as many of these DIYs as you want. And I love these little trays as a custom path to hold everything because my house was looking like a disaster zone. Coming now behind the resident services, I have kind of like a concert area. So this was actually one of the first things that I ever really started designing on this island. I just had a lot of these pieces and thought this was kind of a cool thing to have up on like a deck. So this is actually why I got this deck path. And I just have all these folding chairs around here. And sometimes I have at one point had 3 villagers actually all using the instruments, which I found to be very satisfying. But immediately on the west side of the resident services, this area, I'm not even really sure of what to call it. This is more or less just like an area that I had empty space and decided to fill. It's sort of like a zen-ish area, mostly just a big pile of every stone and black and white furniture that I could find, but pretty frequently I do see villagers using this, I think because it is so close to the resident services. Coming down here to my Italian restaurant. This, I just have all these little antique tables and chairs that I have collected to kind of give it a little bit more of an elegant vibe. I need more candles for all the tables, but this is kind of like the seating area for everything. And then over on this left side, I tried to create more of like a back of house kitchen area. So I have multiple soups, some pizza, some pasta, a little oven going back here. But because I am obviously kind of a sick and twisted human being, because I built the Italian restaurant right there, of course the gym had to go right next to it. So this is where villagers can come and get their anger out by punching stuff, do some pull-ups, have a nice glass of water, and just like clean up afterwards. So I tried to create kind of like a locker room. So I do have a locker, a changing station, and a little shower and sink over here. And I don't think you can quite see it, but I do also have a scale on the floor behind this fence, which always just makes me laugh. But in front of this, I have kind of like the pre-camping area. So this is where you could sit and have a little bonfire with your friends. And if you need more wood, you could come over here past this inappropriate rock and chop some wood. Oh, excuse me, this is very important. Okay, now that that's taken care of. Yeah, you could chop some wood, or if you come over to the other side of things, I have this, again, I don't know, this is supposed to be like a bath, but I wasn't really sure, I just thought it looked good here, so I've chucked everything together other than this rock, which is literally the bane of my existence on this island, so I will tell you why in just a moment, because again, I saw a balloon, so excuse me. Which, wow, apparently was for nothing. So, okay, coming back to, yeah, this rock is not in the right place and drives me nuts, but coming down further to the beach, this is where I have my campsite set up. So I do have a little board game and the radio going, along with kind of like an eating area, so you could barbecue, get your drinks out of the cooler, and obviously I have the campsite here, which looks a little bit prettier when it's up, but oh well. And over here, just more seating areas where you could lounge out. I love the way that the fires look in this game, so I've tried to incorporate. You can see there's a lot of tiki torches around. But over all the way to the right is kind of like a little laundry area. And see, Marina is just as interested in those bugs as me. She just gets me. But coming back out again, passing by the gym, this is just like a little filler area. I didn't really know completely what to do with this like 3 squares of space, so I just have some small seating. You can look at the river, it's pretty. Same thing sort of up here. You'll see a lot of these little tiny just like seating areas to kind of fill up space that I don't have a ton of room for things. And if you cross over to this bridge, this is where I have my basketball court, which is actually one of my favorite places. I don't know, but I'm very satisfied with how this looks. So Obviously, we have the green team, you got the blue team, you can ride your bikes to the basketball court. I'm an excellent dribbler, don't come for me. And you know, when you're waiting to sub in, you got a nice little seating area. You can get some drinks behind you, get your hydration on behind here. And yeah, if we come down further, I've created kind of this little plaza area almost where people could just have a seat while they're watching the game from across the street. I don't really know. And now coming down further, this is where I have both of my shops, which I have, because of the whole summer months, moved them closer to the beach side than they initially were. So on this left side here, I have the Able Sisters, and I've just kind of stuck in front of, or to the side of their building, just all of the like sewing things that I have found. So they have a little sewing station, so maybe one day Sable can leave. And of course, in the background, my giant dinosaur that you can almost see. Over on this right side, I do have Nook's Cranny, and hello Celeste, thank you very much. Anyway, so down here I tried to create kind of like a surf shop beachfront. Look at Aurora sniffing those flowers. Anyway, so I do have some surfboards in the background. Someone told me that they didn't like the fact that there was a gas tank on the beach, so sorry if that offended you. But on this left side, I do have more of like the clothing, since it's a little bit more in front of the Able Sisters. And over here is again just kind of a hodgepodge of like beach stuff. So I have the vending machines. I love this ice cream lamp. Over here, I have kind of a little fishing area, so you could put all of your fish in this cooler here that you catch. I have this toolbox that I like to pretend is a bait box, so you could put all of your fishing bait in here if you were one of those people. I'm going to close that up. Coming up further, this is, you know, where the lifeguard is keeping people safe. Oh, hello. I love these sandcastles. I need to order more of them to kind of strew them about because I think that they're the cutest things. But coming past here, this area I actually wanted to do more with, but also wanted to get this tour up. So it's a little lackluster, but I was initially going for kind of like a changing, you know, like when you go to beaches, there's like the bathroom area. I was trying to go for something like that. So I do have, you can see like the locker and another changing station and a shower, but it didn't quite come together like how I wanted to, but hopefully you can see the vision. So coming back further, I do have this little greenhouse, which I find very satisfying. And to the right over here, I have my theme park or arcade. I don't know, it's kind of just, again, a mash of things. So I tried to make sort of like a food area over here when you come in, so you can get some cotton candy, some popcorn, have a little seat, eat your snack, and of course the necessary teacup rides. I know some people hate these, but I love them. So I tried to create all of the like theme park stuff that I could find. You could get your future told over here, and I tried to make that giant bear in that bottom corner down there like a prize kind of, so I have him roped off, and of course the magician stuff in front of here. And I liked the idea of having, again, like using the hat as something that you could purchase or something. But coming up this ramp, you can see finally my dinosaur, but up here I tried to create a little bit more of the actual arcade area. So I do have all of the games that I found so far. I love these lava lamps, they make me laugh every time. And of course the pinball machines and this poorly placed dartboard, because that just seems dangerous, but oh well. But coming back down, you also could exit or enter here over on this right side. But if you come out this way, I've tried to create this little path, which of course the bushes stopped being in season literally as soon as I placed them. But I love the way that these trees look with the bushes all lined up leading up to this archway. And if you come over here, this is again where we have my west West Side DIY table in front of my orchard. So I have placed the trees pretty close together, but I did that because I like the way that they look a little bit jammed in. The only problem is you cannot see when weeds or anything like falls on the ground, but over on this right side I do have this little bench that you could sit on, and over here this is actually a ball that looks like a watermelon to me, at least. So I was trying to make it look like a watermelon, and I was going to put the basket of fruit over here, but I have yet to find that DIY. But if you come back over again to this side, I have just like a little naturey path area that I initially, when I was putting together my island near the campsite, had some like hiking trails, and this is kind of what was inspired by that before I found out that you had a limit on the number of ramps you could have in an island. But if you come over here, this is where all of the things that make our island work go, and of course of my little trees that did not grow in time for this tour. But over here I just have this hammock, and I love this Mr. Flamingo, so you know, he's hanging out. Back here I have my secret beach entrance, which, as you can see, I've tried to just stick all of the shell items that I have found and made so far. I, as you can see, have not found the chairs yet, but maybe one day. But coming back now to the residential area almost, the first house that you will see is Marina's. I have decided that she is the farmer, so I did give her this little row of fields, and I love these little turnip and I don't know what you would call these, little tiny plant. I have no idea. Codes that I will again have below if I can find everything. So I've given her this hay fence, you know, a duck, classic farmer move. And initially I actually had this all set up around Fang's house, and I had him living off in like a corner by himself since he is so grumpy. But when I moved everyone, it was easier to actually just like make her house since there was more space around it. But if you come down here, continuing in this residential area, I have Aurora's house, and for her, because she is a penguin, I thought it would be kind of funny, maybe I'm just a loser, but I thought it would be funny to give her a very beachy home, and also I thought it matched well with the exterior of her home. So I've tried to give her some definite tropical vibes, and her neighbor is Cherry. And because her name is Cherry, I just think it's, again, funny because I'm an idiot, to give her all of the cherry themed furniture. So I gave her these little speakers, and that's really all that I found so far. But because she is very much a diva who wants to become a pop star and loves pink and everything cute, I was trying to give her a very cute setup. And of course, you know that woman needed a pool. Coming over again, we have Frobert's house. Frobert is my gym buff, so as you can see, I tried to give him, ooh, these trophies really are glistening. Anyway, so I tried to give him a very like athletic setup. So you can see we have this throwback mitt chair. I gave him this green lamp because he is green and everything in his house is green, so I thought it would match. But I gave him some workout equipment so he doesn't always have to go to the gym, and this ball that apparently I'm moving. Okay. And next to Marina, we do have Fang's house. Like I said, there wasn't enough room to make him the farmer, but I did have enough room to give him plenty of plants. So I have all these flowers around. I do pretty frequently see him sitting on this bench, which just makes me very happy. Actually, the inspiration for all of his exterior and a couple others is off of the baseboards of their home. So you can see I tried to match up this wood with the baseboards. And coming over actually to Poppy's house, initially I had a stone pathway for her, because of, again, the stone on her baseboards. I also gave her this skull because that seemed fitting, but I did change it to more of a deck, which again, I still think looks good, but just a little tip if you are wondering where to start, I find just matching this up with the baseboards often like makes things very cohesive. So Poppy, I would like to give her a little bit more plants and a couple more things, but she was one of the last homes to finalize, so sorry Poppy, but I did give you this bike. And another thing to note is I had already placed a lot of the bridges when I started actually really designing my island, so not everything makes complete sense, but I tried to work with what I have. But the next house is Sherp's house, and I was trying to give him just like a very blue theme, but turns out I only really had 2 blue items, so he just got this jacuzzi to call it even. And coming over here, this was actually initially Tangy's house, so I gave her all of this like children's furniture because I felt like it kind of matched with the interior of her home and she would like it. And then Lopez moved in, and this doesn't really make any sense with him other than the fact that I'm like, you'd be a good dad. It's okay, right? So I've just left it here. Coming across this bridge, continuing for kind of like the residential area, I did create this little park, which I thought made sense and was pretty fitting here, and honestly looks like everybody else's park because all the park furniture is the same. But behind the park on this last level here, we actually have my house. And my house, again, I don't think really makes complete sense. The inspiration really was just like Hello Kitty, so basically anything pastel I have just jammed in here, but I'm pretty pleased with it still. I don't know. I am going to be redoing my island actually as soon as this video is up. I think I'm gonna just completely destroy everything and start over with a tropical theme. So if you're not subscribed and you're interested in that, make sure that you do, because I'm gonna have new videos coming out soon. But again, crossing over here, we have Raymond's house. I won't lie, Raymond and Lucky are my favorite of the villagers that I have, so they have more real estate than the rest. So I have given Raymond just kind of more of a spa, coffee, like a very fancy area, and Lucky is right next door to him and he is obsessed with food, so I tried to give him lots of different places to have a seat and enjoy his meal, and then also have a little outdoor kitchen because obviously that is necessary for him. In front of their homes, I do have this little seating area that I'm not completely in love with, but again, I had to get this video up. And over here, this little chess table where people could play. I felt like Raymond, of all of the villagers, was the one that would enjoy this the most. So over here we have kind of my Imperial restaurant. So you are greeted by 2 tanukis. One of these actually was sent to me. Thank you very much. But coming back further, we have this little paper tiger, some incense, a couple different seating areas where you can enjoy the many luxurious foods, a gong, obviously, because that's fully necessary. I do have in this background here, you can see it pretty well from my house, but I do have another lighthouse on one of the rocks back there, which I really like because it's very subtle, but brings me joy anyway. And down here I have more floor seating. As you leave, you also have the option to come into kind of like my rock garden. I love having all of the rocks together because on a day-to-day basis, it makes it so easy to get all of the items that you need. And also I love having it against a wall like this because then you make sure that you are actually able to get all of the items that come out, especially when it comes to like the money. So this is a very easy way, if you can get all of your rocks together, to make sure that you're not having to look for your rocks or are missing out or having to like dig holes behind you, which I find really annoying. But this is not something that I worked on all at once. I know I've seen videos of people who will go around and like cover all the holes to make sure that the rocks go exactly where they want, which I didn't do. I just kind of like every day hit them until they ended up coming where I want to, except for this one stupid rock that would not come here. But I just did it little bit by little bit as I developed out my whole island, which I think is a much better and less hair pulling approach. Finally, coming back over here, I have this little cafe area, and I wanted this to be near all of the residential stuff because I liked the idea of like, this is where a lot of the villagers would come get their morning coffee or their pastry, and I'm just making crap up at this point, but again, I found it satisfying. So I have this wonderful little record player. I think this magazine rack is really funny, you know, this computer where you could get some work done. So I don't know, I just find this overall very cozy and it warms my heart. The last area for my island is the museum. So this area is pretty ugly. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Initially, what I was thinking was I wanted to have kind of like an outdoor museum walk where I would put items on both sides of like the roped off fences and these lights, and you could do kind of like an outdoor tour. But turns out I only got like 3 items for this, so it wasn't really able to come together. But hopefully again, you see where I'm going with this. And if you want to recreate something like this or anything else that I've ever talked about or shown, please do note that I don't care if literally if your island looked exactly the same as mine, it would not bother me. Personally, I find it flattering. So we come back up here for the actual museum entrance. So I tried to create a little gift shop and a welcome area where you could get like ticketed and things if that was a thing in Animal Crossing. And over here, there is kind of like a seating and stargazing area, which I thought Celeste would appreciate, even though she never visits over here. And you can see I was able to find 2 sculptures. Actually, one is just like a furniture item of the Tower of Pisa, and then the other one is actually a sculpture, but literally no one other than Leaf shows up on my island. I swear, like I haven't seen Red in so long. I haven't seen that little bug boy or that fish boy forever, which is annoying because I wanted to make some sculptures of the fish and some bugs to put on these pillars along with some of the sculptures that I could get from Red, but I have yet to actually do that. So this is what this looks like. So you also can exit over from this side, which will pair you back up with the residential area. And I do love putting these edges around the trees if you're looking for something to kind of like neaten up your island. This is just like fun fact. I think this is cute, but I learned about it a little bit too late. But that is pretty much everything for my island tour. I hope that you guys enjoyed, but thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.